Alright guys, 2Kill here, and we're back with another Ni No Kuni video, this time showing you the best way to grind chips at the casino. If you've not been before, the casino's on the Tombstone Trail. We'll just nip onto the map to show you quickly. It's just to the north of Hamlin if you've forgotten. And it's only accessible after you've done the story event at Hamlin, where, spoiler alert, where you go back in time, and then you come back into the current time. If you're going in here for the first time, there's a pit boss just at the entrance here. You'll see the skeleton who you've spoken to previously in the game. There'll be a short scene with him if you've not been in before. And if you're needing chips, up to this gent at the back here and speak to him. This is where you can cash in your chips for prizes, but also you can buy your chips. You need a minimum of 200 for this thing that we're going to show you, which will cost you 1,000 gil. You might need a little bit more than that. It can be worth having a few extra, but once you've done that, down to this lady here at the desk, and this is the platoon table, and this for me is the best way to make chips. So you want to play this, quite a simple game, card game. You get issued with 10 cards, 200 is your stake on it, and it can go through various campaigns as they're called. You're issued with 10 cards. The ace to the 10 are all worth their face value, jacks and queens are worth 10, and you'll see here we also have a bishop, we have a king, and we have a joker. So the king is the king of cards. He wins basically any hand. If he comes up against any number, even if it's higher, he will win. The bishop is the opposite of the king. It is the weakest, and even if you have a higher hand, the bishop will lose unless it's played against the king. The bishop is the one card that will beat a king. Bishops cannot be played in the same hand as a king. Also, two bishops cannot be played in the one hand. You can only have one bishop per hand. You've then got the joker, and the joker is like a swap card. So it swaps your hand with your opponent's hand. So you can put the joker on anything. You can't put it in a hand on its own. It has to have another card. So I like to put it in with a bishop. You'll see I've put my two bishops on the right. I keep my king on his own, because that's a pretty strong card as it is, and I throw all my other number cards into the two piles next to it. So the three piles on the left are my strongest ones. What you do now is you have to pick a prediction. You can pick any of your 5 hands and also any of your opponent's hands. I always stick to my own ones because you know what they are, and if I've got a king, I'll stick with a king. The whole idea with the prediction is that if you get it right, you get half your stake back. As you can see here, the opponent, the house, has picked one of my hands for that, and they've got it right because my hand was stronger. It's a bit of a bad mechanic in the game, and it can cost you heavily, as it does in this one for me. And my stake, as you can see now, has gone from 200 to 100. I've also got caught out here with a joker where my king swaps, and it shows you they had, well, I'm sitting with 12 now, and they've got the king, but the king wins because it's a stronger card. But not to worry. It does happen, and it is just a case of keep going through it. As you can see there, the bishop's a weak card, it's going to lose. You need to win 3 of the 5 hands. You can get a draw if the numbers match up on each side, and a draw will not benefit you. If you've won 2 and your opponent's won 2 and you get a draw on the last one, it counts as the house wins. But you can see there the bishop joker combination has worked wonderfully, and gets a wee swap there, and I win that hand. So if you watch the chips for winning a campaign, it triples your money. So I go from the 100 up to 300, and this is where it gets a bit more interesting. You can now pick to fight further campaigns with your original stake, which is the way to make the big money. So my 300 chips is now the new stake, and you'll see it speeding through here. There's not much to tell you about this second hand. It is pretty much, I always do the same thing. 2 weak hands on the right side, the 3 hands on the left I keep very strong, and play it from there. Now you see from this one I have no fancy face cards here. It's all simple number cards. So just to show you how to set up this one, because it can be a bit daunting, my 2 weakest cards I put over to the right side out the way, and I leave them. I'm accepting a loss on them, and I throw all my high numbers elsewhere. So you can see I've got a 26, a 24 and a 19, which are pretty strong, and I actually win this quite easily. I win 3 hands in a row. You have to just be a little bit tactical. You need to have a look at the sort of cards you're up against and think about it. If your opponent's only got 1 card sitting, then unless it's a king, you're going to likely beat that if you've got more than 10. You know, if it's a hand with maybe 4 or 5 cards in it, you maybe want to try and avoid that, unless you've got like a swap or something like that. But it is just a case of being tactical, setting up your hands. Try and make sure you've got at least 3 very strong hands that you feel that you'll win, and your chips will keep increasing. There's a maximum of 6 campaigns that you can fight, so as you can see on the clip just now as it's speeding through, I'm on the 5th one. But just to show you here as well, to make a point, I have played my stake against her stake, my prediction, sorry. Her prediction was on her own card, which was a 3. I get it right. Sometimes that's a good tactic to save the risk of losing your chips, is to play your prediction against theirs, try and take their prediction out early doors. But it just shows you she put her prediction on a 3. Don't be led or worried by what the computer predicts. They do it very, very randomly. And it is just a case of fighting through. Now, unfortunately, I'll get at the very end here, she's put a prediction on my card and it cuts my stake in half here, and I go from 30,000 chips, from 60,000 down to 30,000, so when it triples I only get the 90,000, which is a bit poor. If you play your cards right, you can get over 550,000 chips, which is well worth it when you're trying to get things endgame. Hopefully this has been a help to you. Please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hopefully you've enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one.
My work is done. Time to pack it up.